it's once again sort of a manifestation of the play style that we talked about with him probably like a month and a half ago when we were talking about Jordan Love really coming into a groove with him getting healthier and sort of the version of what he looked like last year as one of the highest graded quarterbacks down the stretch in the second half of the season. And how you could certainly see that mentality there for him again this year. He is just such a big game hunter, man. He wants to solve, and I'm not saying that this is necessarily wrong because he's really good at it. He wants to solve his problems by making massive throws deep down the field. Like, that's what he wants to do. Not to say that he doesn't have checkdowns, not to say that he doesn't throw hot things like that, but like, if you pressure Jordan Love, if he's in any sort of situation where you allow him to throw it deep down the field, that is what he wants to do. He is a big game hunter type of a quarterback, as some people say. And it was once again another week this week where I was watching him, and there's so many throws against the Dolphins this week where he's just, again, his number one thought is, how can I push this ball as far as possible? Now, it's not, when I say that, I mean, like, he's not super reckless. You have to live with it a little bit, but like, you see the adjusted completion percentage, like, it's super high. He's fantastic at recognizing when he can take these attacks down the field. The turnover-worthy plays, 0 this past week. So even though he's got a higher average depth of target, even though you have him attempting these deeper passes, it's not like he's putting the ball in harm's way. Sure, it's like tight throws against tight coverage because that's what it's always going to be. Well, I shouldn't say always because the Denver Broncos left Jerry Jeudy wide open on Monday Night Football, and so that was a little bit of a shock. But normally when you're pushing the ball deep down the field, you're always going to be throwing against tighter coverage, but he's always doing so in a way where it feels like he's giving his team the advantage. So talk to me about Jordan Love, sort of what you thought with him going up against the Dolphins, what you thought about him so far this season, and then just his play style and how he is evolving as a quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, there's such a good matchup, the Packers against the Dolphins, because of their kind of issues in the middle of the field. Like they've replaced linebackers. They've had issues at nickel. So like, this was a great opportunity. This is where they want to run their routes, the Packers. So, and they left a lot of guys open. I mean, Jaden Reed early in the game, obviously Love overthrows him, but there's just a lot of that against the Dolphins defense. And with Love, I think it's always going to be like, on a game for game basis, is he executing and throwing the ball accurately? Is he, this offense, I mean, it's a great offense. They run the ball. It's such a unique way. They run the ball really well against pretty much everybody. I've said this before. They don't do a ton in the passing game. And like, you watch like the Bengals, so like I watched the Bengals and then went straight into the Love tape. And it's like, the Bengals are doing so much. And like, they have a veteran quarterback who's been in the system for a long time. They have receivers who've been in the system for a long time, so they can handle that stuff. And Joe Burrow's in complete control of whatever pass concept you want to call. The Packers are really running like 3 plays, and everything is off like those stems, right? Everything that comes off of that tree. Then they branch out into a little somewhat different stuff. Obviously, they'll give you different formations to kind of window dress, but they're really doing the same thing all the time. Like, it's crazy. And so, like, Love has gotten so good at that. And it's just, for me, it's like, can he execute? Like, he really, like, his accuracy can wane at times. He loves to throw off his back foot, quote unquote, and those balls can die in the air. Like, it happens. He underthrows balls, underthrows receivers. But when it's on and everything's clicking, and again, I put most of this on Matt LaFleur. Like, let's not beat around the bush here. This is the best or a top 3 play caller in the NFL and designer in the NFL. Like, it's crazy. So I put a lot of that on LaFleur. You're seeing what happens when you take a Hall of Fame quarterback and you remove the Matt LaFleur in New York right now. So a lot of that is on him. But Love, when he executes, and we saw it through the back half of last year, we've seen it in spurts this year. It hasn't been as consistent, but when he executes, sky's the limit, because they're going to get what they get in the ground game. They're going to get what they get in the screen game. And then everything else is down the field. So if he's executing down the field, which is easier said than done, but if he's executing down the field, wow, they are so good and explosive.
Yeah, I was looking up his numbers while you were talking. He's he's more even with big time throws and turnover worthy plays this season as a whole than I thought. His big time throw percentage is 3.6%. His turnover worthy play percentage is 3.7%. I do feel like he is more in a groove lately. I'm pulling up his numbers from the last month to see if it is. Yeah, it's still, I guess it's still pretty high. I guess it's still back and forth. There's a lot of big time throws. There's a lot of turnover worthy plays. I guess it is kind of just something that you've got to live with Jordan Love that we've seen over the last couple of weeks. You talk about them sort of wanting to do the same stuff over and over again. Not necessarily like a broken record, but it sounds like it's just kind of like, hey, these are our strength. These are the concepts that we like. This is like how we like to attack deeper down the field. What is that stuff? Is it more of just you're saying, hey, these vertical routes with the types of receivers that they have with guys like Dontavian Wicks and Christian Watson and Dobbs when he's healthy, but obviously like those two guys are big reasons for it. You got Jaden Reed as sort of an underneath player, but also somebody who you could attack deep down the field with. Like when you say that, hey, their offense is relatively like a lot of the same things that they could just do at a high level. What do you mean by that? What's the type of stuff that they're trying to do in the passing game?
Yeah, I think we've talked about this before, but they have this dagger concept where the inside receiver is running call it a through route. So he's trying to split the safeties. And sometimes if it's one safety, then he'll run across the safety's face. If it's two safeties, he's going to run between the two safeties. And then you have this big in route, usually about 12 yards that they run it. They've evolved this concept. It used to be a deeper concept for most teams. And teams still have that in their playbook, but like, you look at Atlanta and them and some other teams have kind of shortened this dagger concept and kind of evolved it to the modern game. And they just pair that with everything that they do. I mean, I'm off the top of my head, I think they ran it 7 times against the Dolphins, which is like, Go find me a team that runs one concept 7 times in an NFL game. This isn't high school, like it's NFL. It doesn't happen. I've charted them as having run it 18 times in one game.
Wow.
Last year against the Lions, I believe. So like that just doesn't happen in an NFL game. And they do that. And they're really good at it because they window dress it and they have just enough. So like that first route runs like I said, through the safeties, let's say. The second route is that in route of 12 yards, and then they get a bunch of plays. Love didn't throw it, but they ran it where that second receiver is coming up. Now, the corner is like, man, I have vision on this whole situation that's happening in front of me. I see that first receiver run the through route. I know what the second receiver is doing. He's running a 12-yard in route. I'm going to jump that because I can't just sit back because the timing's there and it's going to be thrown over the linebackers and there's a big window. If I don't attach this route, I'm screwed. And then bang, they hit you with a corner route on it. LaFleur's been doing that for years. Like every time you think you have a beat on that play, they give you something else. They give you the blaze out that Dobbs caught against Chicago a few weeks ago. Like they just keep doing stuff like that and they keep staying one step ahead. And like I said, when Love is executing, bang, they are really good. And like you said, the receiving core, you even, Tucker Kraft, get him the ball in space and he's making guys miss. So it's such a well-rounded receiving core with a lot of guys who you can't double one guy because they'll find ways to get the ball to other places. And it's such a sick offense. I love watching it.
Yeah, it is an offense that is a ton of fun to watch, especially with Love being the one to throw the football because, like you said, you have your core plays and concepts that you like to go to, but then in those moments where LaFleur will tell you, and I'm not saying like it's just on the fly, like you do a lot of this stuff over the summer when you're installing, and LaFleur kind of goes like, okay, these are concepts that we love. This is what we're going to hammer home. When they adjust, when they think they know what we're about to throw at them, here's the changeup. Like here's a counter, and Love has the arm to be able to do like, okay, well, you talk about like these deeper routes and these kind of like under routes right underneath them. Sometimes you might have it where, like you said, like you're going to adjust where like the underneath route, you're almost going to use that as the decoy. And you say, okay, well, when they jump this route, because they're going to, because we run this concept a lot, you've got the arm, hit them over the top. And Jordan Love, I think, is a quarterback who, one, his chemistry with Matt LaFleur seems really on point over the last year and a half. But two, he is the talent and caliber of a quarterback that can really hit. When we talk about all the throws, this is what we really mean. We're talking about hitting the throws that sort of unlock stresses to the defense, no matter what you're doing, whether it's your go-to formation and your go-to calls, or it's the adjustment calls. Like, you don't have a quarterback where you go, God, you know, I'd love to lure the safeties down a little bit with this in-breaking route, and then, you know, once they think that it's coming and once they go to jump, we can hit them over the top. But we don't really have a quarterback who can, you know, have the arm talent to really hit them over the top. There's none of those worries with Jordan Love. Thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure you like and subscribe the video. And if you don't have a PFF Plus subscription, you can get one to see all the premium stats that we talked about here on the show, plus the expert betting and fantasy advice over at subscribe.pff.com. The description is also right below, so if you are not a PFF Plus subscriber, you can come one today.